So I'm going to blame good coffee and the fact that you don't want to be in traffic for still being here. Thank you very much. Maybe it's the CPD points. I feel a bit like a can of tuna being scanned each time I enter and exit the door, which is a new experience. But I appreciate you staying, and I appreciate having the opportunity to share these thoughts. And Jane, thanks for setting the scene. I really appreciate also the fact that I can now color in a bit. And just sitting in front, just as a bit of an observation, it looks like to my left at the back, there's a bit of a naughty corner where all the Apple computers are situated. So, and obviously you can see the logo from the front, so it's absolutely fascinating. So, let me not keep on rambling, and to the camera person, I'm going to jump around a bit, so apologies for that. I'm going to give you an interesting afternoon. So, I also feel a bit schizophrenic. So, I'm an engineer working in a bank, speaking at a tax conference. So, if you can keep track of all of that, thank you very much. So, let's start directly. So, this is a topic that we're given. And as Jane indicated, there's many of the points that we're going to overlap, and I'm just going to try to add a little bit to it. I am conscious of the time. So the topic was analyzing the relevance of the carbon emission accounting, reporting, and disclosure to the mining sector. And the first question started off, why is it important to the mining industry? So I do assume that the people in front of me are either tax practitioners or people involved in tax, and or people involved in mining. So with that in mind, I thought, look, do you really want to listen to me? Should I tell you why we should do this? Of course, I get paid to do this, so I'm going to tell you it's a good thing. So why is it important to mining? Analyzing, right, let's start with goldfields. What do goldfields say? The synergies that exist between carbon and energy means that managing them in an integrated way makes sense. Now, all of a sudden, we've got a way to go to the accounting people and say, heads up, I'm also managing operational expenditure. And this was by Dr. Jan du Plessis, which subsequently left Goldfields and is now Professor du Plessis. So it's important that we don't just look at the issue of energy in the context of reducing our carbon footprint. In an energy-constrained environment, it is critical that we secure energy supplies, particularly in high-risk and new growth project jurisdictions. And imagine the time. This is now in 2012. This is before the Sibanye Goldfields debundling. Imagine what was going through their minds. And if you don't like gold, let's go to coal. This is said by Willem van der Merwe, Dr. Willem van der Merwe, which is now the acting head of R&D for Exxaro. For Exxaro, disclosure on carbon emissions has rapidly moved from being a voluntary to vital for the company's sustainability. This is a coal mine speaking. So this is how I want to set the scene. Don't believe the schizophrenic person from the bank that's an engineer. Believe the mining companies. If we then move on looking at the benefits and risk, I'm going to keep this very short. Jane already expanded on a lot of it. And taking a look at what Dr. Willem van der Merwe said, we have a good idea why mines want to do it. But what I want to add is you'll find that there's here and there's a person like me taking a look at the companies you work for or the companies you consult to. I take a look at their carbon footprints. And I am then a type of carbon management accountant. To give you an idea what I look for, there was a specific hospital group, and their scope 1 emissions went through the roof and their scope 2 emissions decreased. What does it mean? What it means is that diesel consumption decreased dramatically and the electricity consumption decreased. Looking at it, what this specific hospital group did was they actually installed diesel generators to be less dependent on Eskom or municipal outages. Now, can you imagine the opportunities for a bank to fund that strategic direction of any company? So it's not a discussion of, is Eskom filthy? Is it the government's fault? Should we buy more diesel? It is, how do you take a look at somebody's carbon footprint and you